Day three of the Republicans not being able to organize themselves in a manner that allows the Congress to move forward in order to get the business of the American people done. House Democrats are ready, willing, and able to get to work on behalf of the American people. But we need a willing partner on the other side of the aisle. It's my hope that today the House Republicans will stop the bickering, stop the backbiting, and stop the backstabbing of each other so we can have the back of the American people. That's what we were elected to do. That is what Congress should be doing. In the face of a global pandemic that continues to be with us, in the face of inflationary pressure all across the land and throughout the world, and in the face of a dangerous conflict in Europe, the biggest conflict since World War II. These are serious issues that require the attention of the United States House of Representatives. It's time for the Republicans to get their act together. And we as Democrats are ready, willing, and able to partner with them to find common ground whenever and wherever possible. Not as Democrats, not as Republicans, as Americans. It's time for Congress to get to work.
Good morning and happy Groundhog Day. Today marks day 3 of the 118th Congress. We've taken 6 votes for Speaker, and the results speak for themselves. House Democrats are united behind our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, and in the fight for lower costs, green jobs, and safer communities. House Republicans are in historic turmoil, unable to organize, unable to govern, unable to lead. Years of blindly pursuing power, currying the favor of special interests, and bowing to election deniers has left the GOP in shambles. Kevin McCarthy is now being held hostage to his own ambitions by the dangerous members that he's enabled. Let's look at the extremists who have taken over. Lauren Boebert is whipping votes. MTG is their spokesperson, and Matt Gaetz is negotiating the rules. Some on the other side of the aisle have campaigned to standing up to the crazy in their party, but their deference at this point to MAGA Republicans, their outreach to try and get power for Kevin McCarthy at any expense, is paving the way for the policies that directly assault American families. A national abortion ban, slashing Medicare and Social Security. Tomorrow is the 2nd anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. It is a dark day for our country, but the pinnacle of what has become the Republican Party. Our message to the American people is that House Democrats stand together with you. We will stand together to fight for progress, to put your voice back in the halls of Congress, and for our democracy. Now turn it over to our chairman, Pete Aguilar.
Thanks, Catherine. I'll get a little bit of time in front of a microphone later today, more than likely, so I'll keep this short. The American public elected us to have common sense solutions. They didn't elect us to go down this path of chaos and confusion that we see from our colleagues on the other side of the aisle. We are making economic progress under the Biden-Harris administration. We need to ensure that nothing gets in the way of that economic progress. And so that's why it's important for us to organize. And the first organizing principle of Congress is to elect a speaker. And their unwillingness and inability to do that is dangerous. And so we will do our duty. We will go upstairs and we will make sure that we are nominating our candidate, Hakeem Jeffries, and I look forward to continuing to do that as long as the House Democratic Caucus allows me to. Thank you so much.
Garrett?
Leader Jeffries, given the unwillingness and inability of Republicans to get a speaker of their own across the finish line, have you all started to talk about what you would demand from Republicans in exchange for votes to help them elect a speaker?
Short answer is no. At the end of the day, all we are asking Republicans to do is to figure out a way for themselves to organize so the Congress can get together and do the business of the American people. Tip O'Neill got along with Ronald Reagan. Ted Kennedy got along with Orrin Hatch. Joe Biden got along with John McCain. Nancy Pelosi got along with John Boehner. Ruth Bader Ginsburg got along with Antonin Scalia. All we are asking is House Republicans to get along with each other so we can get about the business of the American people.
Leader Jeffries, Congressman Smith indicates there might be some national security concerns with an extended drawing out of this process. Do you all have that concern that there may be some national security vulnerability, not being sworn in, not getting intel or briefings?
Without question, I'll let my two colleagues answer as well. There are national security vulnerabilities. This is a dangerous moment for Americans and for the world. It's one of the reasons why the Congress needs to organize. There are public health vulnerabilities. It's one of the reasons why the Congress needs to organize and Republicans need to get their act together. And of course, there are safety vulnerabilities that we should be working on together, dealing with the gun violence epidemic that exists here in the United States of America, building upon the progress of the first gun safety bill that we passed in 30 years in the last Congress. So these are real challenges that the American people are confronting, that are being held hostage as a result of unfortunate Republican dysfunction. Yeah.
It is not only our national security concerns when we cannot organize our committees, when we are not getting the intelligence briefings that we should be able to get. I mean, it is just a matter of luck at this point that there is not something we miss because of this profound dysfunction in the Republican Party. And we have to look at this for the outrage and the danger that it is. This is more than some internal squabbling over who in the GOP conference likes or doesn't like Kevin McCarthy. This is about your responsibility to organize government. It is fundamental to who we are as members of Congress. And not only at these high levels of national security, we cannot organize our district offices, get our new members doing that critical work of our constituent services, helping serve the people who sent us here on their behalf. Kevin McCarthy's ego and his pursuit of this speakership at all costs is drowning out the voices and the needs of the American people. They say they came here to help fight inflation. They cannot stop fighting among themselves to move us forward. So we are here in a dangerous position. And this is far more than their own rancor within their country. They are imperiling our country as they continue their pursuit for this speakership, putting the American people and our democracy in their rearview mirror.
Scott, I said at the top that this was dangerous what they're doing. On one of the morning shows, one of the individuals opposed to Kevin McCarthy said it's just a day or two. You know, there's nothing to see here. Yet other Republicans are saying what we're saying, that this is dangerous, that they can't organize. It is. The Democratic caucus has selected Hakeem to sit at the table of the Gang of Eight and to represent America's interests when it comes to national security. The fact that we can't do that, the fact that members can't get briefings, take an oath, help their constituents, it's dangerous. It'll continue to be dangerous as long as they continue this chaos and confusion.
Thank you. I want to follow up on Gary's question. So yesterday, several of the Republican holdouts were saying that they would go as long as this takes. Is there any timeline that you think Democrats should step in at all, or are you willing to let this go on as well for, I don't know, weeks or however long they want to go?
We're ready, willing, and able to get to work on behalf of the American people. I think that's the sentiment of House Democrats. We'll have a conference convened by Pete Aguilar at 11 o'clock, and we'll discuss the way forward. But I expect that we are going to remain unified, resilient, and strong on behalf of the American people.
What's the message going to be to the caucus this morning in terms of, are you telling them to prepare for weekend, that you don't want them to be absent because that would lower the threshold for Kevin McCarthy? Are you going to whip to make sure that people are not going home, that they'll be here to fill those seats?
Well, whip questions are probably appropriately directed at the whip, and I'll let Catherine answer that. She's done a tremendous job to date, as we all expected that she would do, in keeping us together and strong and present and focused. But this is an open caucus discussion. It's a family discussion. And so we look forward to hearing from all of the members in terms of what needs to happen as we move forward and navigate our way through this unprecedented time. First time in 100 years that there is no Congress because of ambition or power grabs, dysfunction. And this is not a partisan criticism, understand this. It's embarrassing, it's dysfunctional, it's dangerous, it's stupid. Those are the words that Republicans have used to describe what's going on in the House Republican Conference right now.
You know, I cannot overstate how united our caucus is. 212, 212, 212, 212, 212, 212. 6 times we have voted unanimously for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker. And we are here, we are in full attendance, and we are going to remain so because we understand, unlike our colleagues across the aisle, this is not political theater. This is about the fundamentals of our country, our government, and our responsibility to the American people.
So what is your message to your members not to leave now?
Yes, and this is not a hard sell because they understand what is at stake. And this isn't about events and celebrations that they have planned, which, of course, you know, we would love to be able to do that. But this is about the dangerous moment that we are in. And it is about the chaos that the Republicans are creating. So we have to be here to make sure that we are doing everything possible to end this crisis, to get a functioning House of Representatives, and to get to work for the American people.
I'm good.
Back to this side, yeah.
Have you spoken to Kevin McCarthy in the last 3 days? Has he said anything to you?
There have been communication back and forth, but just about procedural matters. Thanks. Back row.
Do you agree with Representative Cori Bush when she said about Byron Donalds that Hakeem laughed at him talk?
Can you repeat that question?
So Representative Cori Bush, you tweeted out that Byron Donalds pending laughed him at COP. Do you agree with what she said?
My view has been, let's continue to organize on our side, as we've done. Strength, unity, resilience. The Republicans have created a mess on their side, and the Republicans need to sort it out.
Let me say something.
Yeah.
For those scoring at home, though, Byron Donalds is from Brooklyn, and so I think Brooklyn has 223 votes right now. So if there's anything that we can come together on, it's that Brooklyn leads. So
I guess it's true when they say Brooklyn really is in the house.
Congresswoman Jeffries said yesterday that the average American, I think he mentioned someone in Des Moines, Iowa,
Yeah, that's a ridiculous assertion. And when you think about what Democrats were able to do under the leadership of Speaker Pelosi, substantively, of course, it was incredible work that made life better for everyday Americans in quantitatively provable ways over the last 4 years. But we also were able to organize, first in 2019, in the midst of the longest government shutdown in American history, brought to us by the former twice impeached President of the United States because of his ridiculous quest to try to build a medieval border wall. Yet despite that 35-day government shutdown, the new Democratic majority organized so we could get about the business of the American people. And then in 2021, we had to organize in the midst of a violent insurrection. But our flag was still there. So we got about the business of the American people, notwithstanding a historic attack on the Capitol. And all we are asking Republicans to do is get it together amongst yourselves so we can make life better for people in Iowa, in the heartland, in urban America, in rural America, in suburban America, and in small town America and Appalachia as well. Yes, the American people do care. We don't want to do nothing Congress, but it appears that that is what some Republicans want to bring to the American people.
Thank you. Congressman Jeffries, what are your thoughts on Cheryl Johnson's performance as she serves as the House Chair?
I think Cheryl Johnson, one who's a historic figure in her own right, is doing a very good job under difficult circumstances. Second row.
Looking ahead to the future with a lot of future fights on the horizon, like the debt ceiling, government funding. I mean, the inability of Republicans to organize themselves. What does that say for the ability of this body to be able to govern?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. And I want Catherine and Pete to weigh into long-standing appropriators. But there's important work to be done in this Congress. We have to make sure we do not default on our debt for the first time in American history. And we need to get working on that because we're going to hit the debt ceiling in a few months. One thing we will not do is allow extreme MAGA Republicans to try to hold the American economy hostage or detonate Social Security and Medicare, which many of them want to do, or else default on our nation's debt for the first time in American history. That's an important issue that is in front of us. And every day that goes by where Congress doesn't organize is the day that we get closer to a historic default on our debt. That's a problem. We also should begin the appropriations process so we can continue to fund the priorities, the health, the safety, the economic well-being, and national security of the American people. That could be a problem, but we should get to work immediately on that. And we have a farm bill that we have to pass as well. And work on that is being held up by this Republican dysfunction. Catherine? Pete? Last question.
Representatives, going back to national security, how does this look on an international scope and the world stage?
Congress needs to get together and organize itself for national security reasons, for public safety reasons, for public health reasons, to promote the economic well-being of the American people. Thank you.